very pleased to have in the studio with me Chanupa Gluma Mani. You want to say it?
Yes,
I'm sure you can say it better than me.
It's Chanupa Gluma Mani.
Thank you. Thank you. A Lakota, member of the Lakota tribe. You are, this is Lakota for Strong Heart. You're the head man of the Kantetenza. Can you say this?
Yes, I'm the headsman of the Chantetenza Oka Lakeisha, which is the warrior leader of the Strong Heart Warrior Society.
There you
from
go.
the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in the state of South Dakota.
And you are here in Washington, D.C. to do what?
I'm here to contest issues pertaining to our elderly program from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation that went undercut and cook that was being illegally removed. Mm-hmm. And within that time frame, since the removal of Mrs. Mary Horse Felicia, we had 3 elders that passed away. And so these 638 contracts that were administered through the BIA have to be honored and upkept. Mm. But the members of Congress from the state of South Dakota, Senator John Thune, Senator Michael Rounds, and Senator Kristi Noem have not lived up to those standards. Now remember, this is a treaty obligation. And so for the rest of the public that believe in the Constitution, Article 6 pertains to that because it's a treaty obligation that they have the honor to fulfill.
Right. In fact, that Article 6 of the Constitution says that treaties shall become the law of the land,
exactly.
The highest law of the land, equal to the Constitution.
Exactly. So, these are the things that these measures have to be dealt with in a professional capacity. And since we've been out here, they've been giving us, the small implementations about their younger staffers to deal with this problem, when in fact, Senator Thune years ago promised that he would look at an investigation to oversee the issues happening inside the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Now, Senator Michael Rounds said the same thing during his campaign speech, where he said Native issues were going to be his number one priority.
But they haven't been.
They haven't even been lived up to.
Yeah, not surprising. Now you've got the Lakota Warrior Society, the Independent Lakota Nation, which you're here representing, presents a press conference and special screening here in Washington, D.C. tonight at 5 p.m., and this is great, just before the snowstorm, so you got in the day before.
Because this press conference and this also the viewing of the Red Cry documentary will also give you positivity, a viewpoint of what's still happening on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation.
So tell me about this Red Cry documentary.
Okay, Red Cry documentary was to continue to show efforts and bring some enlightenment to the conditions that are happening at the discretions of our tribal elders. Remember, our tribal elders are our key to the future. In modern conveniences, they are our professors of wisdom.
Right.
So they hold the key to our 22nd doorway to the future, where we're all going. And so one day you and I, Thomas, we're going to become elders. And so with this kind of abuse still unfolding, America has an opportunity to do something according to public interest. Well, the treaty is a public interest. And the tribal people are a public interest in that matter. And so since federal legislation and federal Indian policy has not kept that norm, our elders contacted the Strong Heart Warrior Society to implement these changes in input to bring about a strong investigation to eliminate the graft and corruption on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in our state of South Dakota.
Yeah, and so I wish you the very best on this. I've spent some time on and worked with people in the San Carlos Apache Reservation years ago, and they had this sacred land, which I've been on, which John McCain and Jeff Flake just gave to a division of Rio Tinto, the Australian mining company.
Right,
and they're getting screwed on this. Are the Native communities around the United States putting out these fires independent of each other? You're dealing with the issues in Pine Ridge. They're dealing with the issue of Apache Tears, that sacred land. Or is there some kind of national coordination that can help propel these native issues?
Well, let's put it in this context. If many tribal people will start reasserting their nation status, that's the validity of where their independence lies.
Right.
That's where freedom is, but you have to believe in them. Now, we have never relinquished that to this godforsaken day, even in the year of 2016. So the nation status gives you a protection clause. United Nations had administered that. And remember, President Obama signed into the draft declaration on human rights to go into effect in 2007. So as a primitive, lifestyle, what we used to have in ancient time, that's still in existence. We have a quote, Thomas. We say, "Lakota kilila o techike." And that's true because who we are as indigenous people in our own country, it's very hard to adapt to colonial culture.
Could you translate that into English?
Well, okay, the best thing to say is this way of life that don't belong to her is hard to even live by. See?
Yeah.
So now that we're concentrating on the English consonants of this everyday living, it's sad because First Nations people are never given that opportunity to voice their issue in our own native capacity.
Yeah, I understand. The Tetuan Lakota Oyate are a sovereign indigenous First Nation people, and but the first word is the matriarchal. Your Lakota society is a matriarchal
we've
society.
Always been a matriarchal system where the women told us men what to do. Mm-hmm. And so warrior societies like Strongheart and many others that are back home in the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, we do it alcohol and drug free. Mm-hmm. Now, a reservation is supposed to be administering its full-fledged sovereignty, but sovereignty is only a word. So when people in Congress beg to differ with that pronunciation, they only work to a government standpoint. So the federal government will deal with the tribal government rather than doing with the nation status, which is your people. Mm-hmm. Now, this great country of mine was found on independence through the Iroquois Confederacy. Native people taught the rest of the colonizers their first constitution.
Oh, yeah.
So in this day and age, in 2016, why can't senators and congressional officials live up to that standard? Remember, when you make a pledge by swearing in through the United States Constitution, you are obligated to fulfill them. That is every senator's, fiduciary responsibility to keep that honor intact. And unfortunately, South Dakota, 3 senators ain't living up to that. And this is why we're here.
Right.
And I will say this. If America really cares about cleaning this society up, then clean up your backyard. And Pine Ridge Indian Reservation is the worst one into meaning. And quote unquote, remember what our late grandfather once said. Roy Martin once said this: when you remove a people from the forest, the people of the forest become unknown. And what becomes unknown, you want to destroy. That philosophy is still alive within Indian people. And so I thank you, Tom, for giving us this opportunity to come here. We have a screening tonight at this show, of the Red Cry, and you're all welcome to come down. I believe you have it on a press release there.
Yeah, it's at it is at 5 p.m. tonight at the Josephine Butler Parks Center, which is on 15th Street, 2437 15th Street Northwest here in D.C. Now, what about, we've got people listening to us all over the country and all over the world who can't come to Washington, D.C. to see this. Is this going to be available online someplace?
Yes, you can get it on, if you type into YouTube, you can get it off there. Type in Red Cry.
Red Cry.
Yes,
REDCRY.
You can.
Okay, and you can see this. That's great. And what can people do in the minute or so, a little less than a minute we have left here, what can people do who are at home right now to support the work that you're doing?
Contact the Strongheart Warrior Society. We have a website. It's called the chantetenza.wordpress.com. That's CANTETENZA.wordpress.com. And send your support that way. And if you want to stand together with us by eliminating these kind of, negative, pronunciation in the American public, ladies and gentlemen, please get back into independence and assert your independence. If not, sovereignty is never going to work because it's just a word. And I urge every American citizen, if you believe in your freedom and your Constitution, then start acting independent. And I thank you, Tom, for giving us an opportunity to be here.
And people need to contact their legislators, your legislators from South Dakota. And, the number for the Congressional Switchboard is 202-225-3121. And say, hey, let's honor our obligations to the Pine Ridge Reservation and the Lakota people. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Tom.
Honored to have you with us and to meet you. Thank you. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.